Hello, veterans. This is Dennis Young with the Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library. And we are actually on our way to Phoenix, Arizona for the 124th VFW National Convention. And on our way, we have guests. On our way, we came across a very amazing family in Eden, Oklahoma. Oh, I'm sorry, Edmond, right? You're in Edmond, Oklahoma. And their names are Mark and Tristen Adams. Now, we normally don't do a couple interviews, but there's a reason for this one. And we're going to get to that here shortly. So Mark Adams is a retired Air Force officer enlisted. Enlisted. And he'll get to his story here in a second. And then Tristen, his wife, she is not military, but the reason why she is here is for something that recently just happened in her family, and she has become very involved with Mission 22. And all of us who are part of the military and all the veterans, we know what Mission 22 is, and they're gonna tell us about that. And she's gonna tell us about how her involvement is and why her involvement is. So we're gonna start with Mark. Mark, just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up at, who family, where you went to school, where you graduated, and then talk about what got you going to the military and then what you're doing now.
Born in western Nebraska, raised in Denver. Hi, buddy. And graduated high school I went to high school in Aurora, Rangeview High School, and graduated in '87, and signed up for the Air Force before I graduated. And the reason was because I kind of knew that I wasn't ready for college. I knew that I kind of had some growing up to do still, so the military seemed like a good option, and that was it. So I delayed enlistment and actually went in on April Fool's Day of '88, so April 1st of '88, and I was basically a back shop aircraft maintenance guy for about 12 years. Stationed I went to school at Lowry Air Force Base, which has since closed. First duty assignment was Eglin Air Force Base. I was there for 4 years, and then Korea for a year, Nellis for 6 years, and that's where I got recruited into Office of Special Investigations in OSI, and did that for another 11 and a half years, and retired in November of 2010. And bounced around agencies, went to work for Defense Security Service for about a year, then got hired back on with OSI, and been with them ever since 2011. Yeah, 2011.
All right. Do you have any combat time while you were in the Air Force?
Well, I wouldn't say combat time, but I did a year for Desert Storm. Deployed out there in January, just before it kicked off in January of '91. Is that right? Yeah, January '91.
Correct.
And redeployed in April or May of '91. That's when I was at Eglin with the 33rd Fighter Wing, and then I did 6 months in Iraq, in Baghdad, when I was with OSI. So in the Green Zone, did a little outside the wire stuff, mostly just going to an LZ or going to Victory or taking a chopper up to Balad or someplace like that to go do part of our job. So,
are you part of a VFW anywhere?
I am a VFW life member. I actually joined the Millard Post up in Nebraska, and I've never changed it since we moved to Oklahoma, and I need to do that. So,
all right, good. Any good experience you had in the military?
Well, a lot of good experiences, a lot of good memories, good people. That's probably what makes it good, is the people. Mission's good, but I mean the experiences are what make it. So a lot of good friends, a lot of good buddies, folks I deployed with, still in contact with. That's one of the kind of good things I'd say. One of the good things of like social media is that it allows you to connect to folks that you've lost connection with over the years. When you're in the military, a lot of people bounce in and out of your lives, and sometimes you just kind of lose connection. And so that's one of the good things of social media, is I've been able to reconnect with a lot of folks, and find out that they're either living in the same town, or they're nearby, or they're passing through, or whatever. So I've been able to see them and things like that. So So
Okay, good. Now, somebody's retired military. Any kind of advice you would give? Like, what would you tell a young person who wanted to go into the military? What kind of things would you want to talk about?
I don't know. That's a tricky one. I would say that your goals will change. If you go in with a fixed set of what you want to do, that's fine. Then I would say that you stick to that and go on with your life's plan. But also understand too is that your goals may change. You may find a life in the military that you maybe didn't imagine you would find, or maybe it's not for you, and that's okay too. And not be afraid to make those decisions to thanks buddy to leave the military. I've seen folks, and I've had troops that worked for me when I was supervising, that they were afraid to get out because they didn't know, it's a big change, it's a big transition, there's a lot of stress involved with that, so they would stay in to delay that, and they weren't happy. Conversely, people that worked for me or that I worked with that had plans of just coming in, doing their time, and then going on to school, and suddenly, they were struggling with the fact that they didn't know if that was really for them, and they ended up staying in. They made good careers out of it. So I would just say it's that semper gumby of just remaining flexible, being okay with your decisions and sticking to them, but at the same time, if you decide to change, then that's okay too. So.
Perfect, I love it. So, now to our next part of our interview. We're here with his wife, Tristen Adams. No, she is not military, but her father was a Vietnam veteran. He was out of the military, he was part of the VFW, had a great life, a very successful life, through his career and everything that he had done. Recently, back on Memorial Day, and Tristen, I do apologize, he took his own life. No signs. Nobody would ever understand why. And again, he was a successful person. His life was going great. The reason why Tristen is here is because she has become very, very involved with Mission 22 and trying to find ways to help veterans not do what her family member had done. Tristen, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And please tell us more about what you do.
So, as you said, my father committed suicide on Memorial Day of this year. He had been married to the love of his life for 53 years, slew of grandkids who he absolutely adored, spent all of his free time with. Just a very, very successfully, professionally and spiritual man, huge patriot, but PTSD finally won on Memorial Day. Very, 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 very suddenly. So it just kind of swept the rug out from underneath us. In the course of those few days, we were looking for a charity we knew we wanted any memorial money and things like that to go to a charity that dealt with PTSD and veterans specifically. But so we had done a little research with some help of Mark and his military friends, and found Military 22, and frankly or Mission 22, sorry, and I had never even heard of it before. So did a lot of research every night on it, decided that's where we wanted to focus our efforts in trying to raise some money in awareness for PTSD survivors and people that didn't survive it. So anyway, it's been a really hard journey for me with what happened with my dad. It's a lot of things to kind of wrap my head around. So I have tried to take my energy and put it into now Mission 22, and I've become an ambassador for Mission 22. You go through a little bit of a training course with them, and like I said, this is fairly recent, so we don't really have a big presence here in Oklahoma, nor do we have a big presence in Nebraska, which is where my parents live. So my goal is to really help bring awareness to the mission that Mission 22 does, and get that word out that there are things that they can do. There's so many, there's so much help out there, but the VA doesn't necessarily tell you about it. So you have to go do your digging, and if you're not necessarily mentally healthy, you're not going to be able to do that. So I just want to get the word out. With somebody like my father, who, like I said, he was very successful. He was surrounded by thousands of friends and family. He had 10 brothers and sisters who were all living. They're all super close. Like I said, married to the love of his life, always had a smile on his face, the happiest person you would have ever seen. He wasn't some despondent veteran on a corner that had drank himself to death. That's what you envision when you envision somebody that takes their own life due to PTSD, and that's not what it is. It's me, it's anybody that can. You don't know their internal struggles. So I think the more awareness we can bring to the programs that are out there, the better.
Thank you so much. And I see we had our extra guest here,
Yeah.
which I will tell you, that is not a problem to me. I am a dog lover, and they do great. If you guys don't know, our black poodle here is Winston, and this one is in front of you, Trista?
Merlin,
and my short-term memory. And then we have Coco over here enjoying the pool. Guys, I want to thank you so much for letting us be in your home. We got to stay last night. It's a wonderful place, beautiful place, and thank you for hospitality.
Welcome
And thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to say before we close this?
I don't think so. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, so
Thank you, guys.
appreciate
All
it.
right.